friends from Memphis, my parents' friends, the Weissmans.
Excuse me,
long-standing friends who have been friends for a long time. And of course, Memphis also, Ty Levine, thank you for making your way. And Yaakov, also from Memphis, even though he also used to live right in the neighborhood. And also some friends and family who live here in Israel, Yerushalayim, Beit Shemesh. I appreciate everybody coming for the Siyam and Yosi's memory. Also in terms of the food, obviously Talia, thank you very much for organizing all of this, and thank you to Rifki. I don't know if she's in the. Also, she was a tremendous. Rifki Middledorf, our neighbor, was a tremendous help in putting all this together. So thank you very much to her as well, and I hope everyone's enjoying the food. Yeah, exactly. So the end of. I guess I'll start from here. The last line of Yevamot. So I learned Yevamot because I saw in the Daf Yomi calendar. I wasn't doing Daf Yomi, but the Daf Yomi calendar, Yevamot ends in a couple days. So I thought I would pick up with Yevamos and make the Siyam a little bit early. And I had the privilege of learning the last couple of Prakrim with my father over the past couple of months. And the last line of Yevamot says as follows: Amar Elazar Rabbi Chanina, Talmidei Chachamim Marbin Shalom Ba'olam, Shenamar V'chol Banayach LeHashem V'Rav Shalom Banayach. And of course, to continue, it says that Talmidei Chachamim increase peace in the world, as it says, V'chol Banayach LeHashem. All my sons are Limudei Hashem. I guess those who learn or learn from Hashem. V'Rav Shalom Banayach. And then as we read also, Al Tukrei Banayach El Bonayach. So this is not only found here. There's 4 places where the Gemara ends like this. The question is, why is it here then Yevamos? So that's what I would like. I'll spend 3 minutes trying to give something of an explanation. Rabbi Chanina, I haven't really spoken to a lot of people about this. I like Rabbi Chanina a lot. Thank you. But he's something of a philosopher. A lot of the things that we have in the Gemara that are like the big philosophical statements actually come from Rabbi Chanina. For example, Chosanto Shakadosh Baruch Hu Emes, that's Rabbi Chanina. Hakol B'dei Shamayim Chutz V'Yer Shamayim, that's Rabbi Chanina. There are many statements that are in the name of Rabbi Chanina. I'm pretty sure it's Rabbi Chanina and not Rav Chanina, so I'm pretty sure it's the same person. And Rabbi Chanina has a lot of these statements. Just before this, we have another machlokas, and that is that the witnesses. So Yevamos is basically about when bad things happen. Essentially, if there's one phrase to say it. So the end, the last couple of prakim are what happens, what's called Eidos Isha, meaning the testimony about somebody who dies. And there are certain kulas that the Chachamim instituted in accepting testimony in order to believe that the person has died so that his widow can get remarried and does not remain an aguna. So one of the machloksim is about whether or not we require drisha v'chakira of the aide who would come or the Eidim who would come to testify, so the Eid who would come to testify that the person had died. Drish Chakir means essentially like an interrogation. You ask them and you, in many ways, try to trip up the witnesses, and if they are not consistent with their testimony in one way or another, then we reject the testimony. So this also is in the name of so the Machlokas, Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Tarfon, about whether or not this testimony is similar to whether it requires Drish Chakira. And what's the machlokas? So the Gemara says it's machlokas in another halacha of Rabbi Chanina. The Amar Rabbi Chanina, Dvar Torah, Echad Dini Mamanis, V'Echad Dini Fashos, V'Drish V'Chakira. Both capital cases and monetary cases require Drish V'Chakira. Shenamar Mishpat Echad Yelachem. The capital cases and monetary cases are the same. Where do we see in the Torah that we require Drish V'Chakira? It's actually by the parsha of the Mesis. The Mesis is somebody who causes people to stray to Avodah Zarah. So it says v'darasha v'chakarta heitev v'nei emes nachon hadavar, right? That if you have to interrogate and if it's true. So he says, so really Dvar Torah we require for all testimony this sort of thing. However, umatam amru dinim mamen is saying shrichah dish v'chakira. Why do we say that monetary cases do not require dish v'chakira? Because shalot tinol deles we say loven. Because we don't want to, in monetary cases, if someone loans money. And then they have witnesses that they loan somebody money, and then witnesses get tripped up and they don't get money, and they don't get their money back. So they may stop lending money to the lovet, to the lender, to the poor person. It's like, well, hold on a second. If our legal system, if the court is dependent on finding truth, and this is Rabbi Chanina also says, Chosanto Shakadosh Baruch Hu Emes, how can you tell me that we are going to dismiss or discard this halacha of Drish Lakir by the Eidim. If the court is supposed to find the truth, and that is the function, and it's true, how can you tell me that we are going to say, no, we don't have to do it for the witnesses? Are we not encouraging lies and misinformation in the courts? Okay, so I think what you have to say, and so it's fascinating to me, anyway, is that the parsha where we learned V'darash v'chakarta is the Mesis, where in the Mesis itself, there are certain halachos where we're actually not trying to go out of our way to find the truth, right? For example, if someone knows a limud zchus not to kill the mesis, I mean not to hold them accountable for capital punishment, we say you should not bring that to Bezdin. Even though in all other cases we would say if there's a capital case, we would want someone to come in malambed zchus on the potential offender who would get the capital case. By the mesis, we say not. And there are other limudim in the Gemara where it says, well, we only know Drish Lakir by this case, how do you know, which is more chamor, how do you know by the other cases, which is less chamor? So the idea of Drish Lakira, I think there's two ideas within this halacha in the Bezdin. One is to find the truth, but the other is actually to protect the one they're testifying against. What do I mean? In a monetary case, if we are concerned, well, let me take a step back. People, the Edom have a ches of kashrus. So why should we require a Drish Lakir? So again, one is to pursue the truth, but the other is we say, okay, the malveh is the wealthy person, the loveh is the poor person. That's why he's borrowing the money. So if the malveh wanted to extract money, he would be the one who could hire witnesses to get from the loveh. So we would say, in order to protect the loveh against a malicious malveh, the darasha v'chakarta, we're going to say that you have to have Drish Lakir of them. Again, one issue is to find the truth, but the other issue is in order, and this is why by the mesis we don't want that. We want v'lo sachos and chalav, that we're not supposed to have rachmanas on the mesis. That's the whole point. Is that there's a second element which is having rachmanas on the person they're testifying against. So Rabbi Chanina says, once that's the case, that there is this additional element to the Drish Lakira, so now we can say, well, is this actually working? And if you find that the lenders are not loaning money to the poor people because they're afraid that they're going to have a Drish Lakira and mess up the witnesses, so that actually is counterproductive for what the Torah is trying to accomplish in protecting the loveh from having to pay unnecessarily. The loveh is not getting, the lender's not getting any money at all. And so Rabbi Chanina is saying that we actually reverse the halacha, which seems the opposite of what should be true. If you have a court case and you want the truth, you should do Drish Lakir. He says, no, in this case, it's the opposite, because we're trying to we see from the halacha, we're trying to protect the innocent. So to here, we're going to change, we switch the halacha. And that's why the Gemara maybe brings here this last statement of Rabbi Chanina. Tamid HaChachamim marvin shalom ba'olam. It's only the Tamid HaChachamim who can see this halacha and say, what is it trying to accomplish? It's trying to accomplish the protection of the loveh. And then they flip it on its head in order to allow for lotinol desmei lovin, in order to allow people to lend money, allow the impoverished to receive the loans that it's a mitzvah, of course, to lend them. And that is how that's why the Gemara says that is marva shal ba'olam, and it requires to be a chachamim in order to do the b'chol banayach l'Hashem v'rosh shal banayach, the bonayach, the Talmidei Chachamim who are able to recognize this need and to, in essence, sort of flip the halacha on its head for the protection of loveh. That is marva shal ba'olam. Hajna lach l'isha basra v'slichalan maseches Yevamos. Hajna lach maseches Yevamos harachalan. Daita la Masechet Yevamos, Daita Chalan, L'Tishna Minach Masechet Yevamos, L'Tishna Minan Lo Hadev Lo Ba'am Da'aseh. Hajna lach Masechet Yevamos Har Chalan, Daita lach Masechet Yevamos, Daita Chalan, L'Tishna Minach Masechet Yevamos, L'Tishna Minan Lo Ba'am Hadev Lo Ba'am Da'aseh. Hajna lach Masechet Yevamos Har Chalan, Daita lach Masechet Yevamos, Daita Chalan, L'Tishna Minach Masechet Yevamos, L'Tishna Minan Lo Ba'am Hadev Lo Ba'am Da'aseh. Here some Fanecha Adonai Henu V'Vaseinu Shalei Shor Aschal Menasenu Ba'am Zeh Shehim Imanu Lo Lamaba. Chanina bar Papa, Rabbi bar Papa, Nachman Papa, Chai bar Papa, Amar Mar bar Papa, Rachman bar Papa, Rachash bar Papa, Surcha bar Papa, Ada bar Papa, Dara bar Papa, Herav Na, Adonai Yohenu Shevreis Raskal Befinu V'Fiki Yosam Chav Beisyo V'Diyav Nachlu V'Kularo Nachlu V'Tzei Esenu V'Tzei Esem Chav Beisyo Kulano De'Shemach V'Leis Arsecha V'Ivai Techagmeni Misotzecha Gilam Hili Hili Samim V'Chukech Laman Lo Yevosh Yolam Lo Eshkach V'Chodach Yivam Chisani Baruch Ata Adonai Lavdenu Chukech Amen 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 Sel V'Ed Modim Anachlu Fanecha Adonai Yohenu V'Vaseinu Santo Chatenu V'Yoshi V'Beis Amender Santo Chatenu V'Yoshi Karos Shanu Mashkim Hem Mashkim Anu Mashkim L'Divrei Torah Hem Mashkim L'Divrei B'Telem Anu Me'elam Hem Me'elam Anu Me'elam B'Kam L'Schar V'Hem Me'elam B'Kam L'Sachar Anu Rasim Hem Rasim Anu Rasim Chan L'Vav V'Hem Rasim L'Ver Shachas Shenemar V'Yatar L'Hem T'Reidim L'Ver Shachas Anshay Domim V'Ramal Lo Tetzuyim Hem Vani eftach bach. Yiratzom Fanecha Adonai Elohai Kishem Shadatan L'Sayim Masechtas Yevamos Kain Tazrin L'Haskol Masechtos Uksram Acherim L'Sayim L'Mol L'Lamed Lishmor Lasos L'Kaim Es Kol Reisim V'Tarsecha V'Yavaz L'Chutz Kol Tanaim V'Amaram V'Samadei Chacham Yamulil Zeri Lo Samosh HaTorah Mipi Zar V'Zera V'Zari Adalam V'Sis Kayim B'His Halechacha Tancha Osach V'Shachwacha Tishmor Alecha V'Akitzos Yi Tzitzichacha Kivir V'Yemecha V'Yosiv L'Chash Noslayim Orech V'Im B'Mina Bismillah Osher V'Chavod Adonai Ozam Ayitein Adonai Berechas Mama Shalom Yisadav